I'm legally insane. This right here is 2463673. I'm legally insane. And what I have right here for you today is 7 OG Xbox games. Absolute bangers, every single one. And some of these I happen to get from your mother just recently. She came over. She comes over every now and then. Oh yeah. And you know what I like to do right before your mother comes over? When I know she's coming, I like to turn the heat up. 69 degrees. Not Fahrenheit. We're talking degrees. So it's nice and hot. Gets the sweat flowing. She comes over, it's real sweaty. Sweat just drenching down. To the point where we're both about to die of heat stroke. Literally die. 69 degrees is hot. It's a miracle. It's a miracle we didn't die, in fact. And around this point, she usually tries to get up and leave. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like it when it's that hot. The clothes are just drenched. Sweat pouring out of every pore. On our deathbed. She doesn't like that. She tries to leave. But that's where the real fun begins. Oh yeah. I don't let her leave. She still hasn't left. It's going to be a while before she returns, buddy. And that's when the fun begins. And what I've learned to do here, we do it the same way my father taught me.
A sultry, hot evening. All the windows closed. When I hear a sound, a rap at the door, my young son Gabriel walks in. My wife says, "No, Gabriel, leave." I say, "No, let the boy watch. Let the boy watch. He needs to learn the way I learned from my father."
We're starting off real strong with a hidden gem, complete hidden gem. I didn't even know about this until recently. So if you do know about this, you're a real freaking OG, man. You are a real hardcore Xbox OG, and you deserve to go in the Xbox Hall of Fame. This is Curse, The Eyes of Isis from Dreamcatcher. And interestingly enough, I read that this was a budget title when it first came out. I don't know if that's true. If anyone out there bought this when it first came out, let us know. Was it actually a discounted? And what a budget title is, it means it's a discounted game. Like it was cheap. You know, you weren't paying AAA pricing. You weren't paying a full price. They had it discounted. It was typically a budget. That's typically a budget title, right? Now, unfortunately, this is stuck on the Xbox, meaning it's not backwards compatible. Oh yeah, it is an Xbox exclusive, but only in North America, interestingly enough. So any of you guys in Europe, you were very lucky and very fortunate to have also received this on the PlayStation 2, because the rest of us didn't get it on the PS2, and we would kill to have it on the PS2, because this is not backwards compatible with the Xbox 360. They never completed it. They attempted to do it, but I guess it was buggy. Something happened, and they just weren't able to do it for whatever reason. I guess there's some complicated coding involved. I'm not really sure, but it sucks because it is stuck on the Xbox. It's not compatible with any other Xbox. So this is a survival horror. Akin to Resident Evil, so very similar to the early Resident Evil games, which were the best Resident Evil games, by the way. Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, nothing will ever top those. In particular, Resident Evil 1 and 2. Those are my favorites. Number 2 definitely had a lot of improvements, But number one, there's something about that mansion and the mystery of that mansion. Going into that, the tank, I love the tank controls too, by the way. I wish they had never gotten rid of the tank controls. But anyways, let's get back to Curse of Isis. I paid $70 CIB. CIB. Which is actually, believe it or not, a pretty good frickin' deal, because this price charts for $86.39, all Canadian dollars, by the way. $86.39, but you'll be hard-pressed to get it for under $100, especially with your shipping and your taxes. This game has been steadily climbing, and I think it's because it's so unknown, even to this very day. So many people have no idea that this exists. And it doesn't help, again, it doesn't help that it's stuck on the OG Xbox. Guys, remember, when game prices go up, they don't go in a straight line. Okay, I'm hearing all the time, people are like, oh, but the prices are coming down. Okay, buddy, have you looked at the chart, you moron? Yeah, they come down, they go down every now and then. Sometimes they'll go down for a year, they'll trend down for a year or two, and then they go right back up. Zoom out, look at the bigger picture. Look at the 10-year, the 20-year, the 30-year chart on these rare games, rare and sought-after retro video games. Okay? Just look at the bigger picture. Don't look at the short term. Short term is completely meaningless. And only look at the rare ones. Quit looking at Barbie for the Game Boy. Okay? Nobody cares about Barbie for the Game Boy. As soon as Barbie comes out, let's say they're charging retail 30, 40 bucks, 50 bucks even for Barbie. The second it comes out, the price just goes down. It's Barbie for the Game Boy. Okay? This is not Barbie. This is Curse. A hidden gem for the OG Xbox. That's what this is. A very big difference. So, yeah, this is the Xbox's version of Resident Evil. Often compared to a mix. It's basically a mix of Resident Evil and Eternal Darkness for the GameCube. That's a hidden gem GameCube game. Price is going up on that one too. I got mine a long time ago. I got a CIB copy down here. I'll hold on. Often compared to Eternal Darkness. Excellent, excellent GameCube game. They do have similarities. The camera angle in this game is very similar because you get that fixed camera angle akin to Resident Evil, or in some cases you'll have the camera follow you as well, akin to Eternal Darkness. So you kind of get a mix mash of the two. You get the classic survival horror elements, being the survival aspect being, you got to watch your ammo, you don't want to overuse your items. You got to save the items when you can, save the ammo when you can. Classic survival aspects. And another similarity to Eternal Darkness, in this one you have the insanity meter. I don't want to give any spoilers on this game, just in case you do pick this one up. I recommend going into it blind. So I'm not going to talk about the insanity meter, but in this game you have, it's called the soul meter. The mechanic isn't quite the same, but it's very similar. So you have a health bar, and you also have a soul meter. When you get hit by enemies, your soul meter goes up. And it can actually kill you if your soul meter goes high enough, unrelated to your health. But there are items that you can take, obviously, to replenish your health and replenish your soul meter. So, very similar to Eternal Darkness. Plenty of weaponry in this game. You got pistols, flamethrowers, shotguns. You got a club of death. Very powerful melee attack. Grenade launchers. Flamethrower is my personal favorite. Yeah, and by the way, this came out in 2003. So it was not, interestingly enough, that was not a late release. So I don't know why it wasn't more popular than it is. I think it got mixed reviews at the time, but that happens a lot with hidden gems. A lot of the times hidden gems get completely ignored or underrated. You know, the gaming magazines and the gaming TV shows of the era give a game mixed or poor reviews, but then 10 years, 20 years later, the gamers, the hardcore real gamers, actually go back and play the game. YouTubers go back and play the game. They make review videos on the game. And that's when the market starts to wake up and the gamers start to wake up and they say, oh, so that game didn't suck after all, because I read in a magazine, you know, it got 58% out of 100 and the game sucked. They complained about this, they complained about that, they complained about the map in this game. I've even heard that. People complain about the map mechanic. Oh, you're constantly looking at the map, or the map doesn't help you. Well, it does help you, and there's no problem. Who cares if you're looking at the map a lot? It's helping you beat the friggin' level. So calm down and focus on the fun aspects of the game and what makes it unique. Next up, we got Project Gotham Racing, or Project Gotham Racing, and Project Gotham Racing number 2. 1 and 2, bitch. CIB. We ain't playing around. I get CIB. If it's part of my personal collection, whenever possible, CIB all the way. I don't care that it's a Platinum Hits version. Doesn't bother me. Like I said, my Xbox collection is very small. And I'm not particularly picky on the color of the case. Because guess what? Guess what I paid for this? $1 Canadian, $1 Canadian. $2, bitch. $2. You try and find a better deal. You'll never find a better deal. Never in your life will you find a better deal than $2. I guarantee that. You will never find a better deal. They're not worth much, by the way. Project Gotham Racing number 1, price charts for $8.57. This one price charts for $8.76. You know, you're probably looking at $10 a piece, all right? You find them at the stores for $10 a piece. Get them on eBay with your shipping and your fees, maybe $10, maybe $12. But I paid $1. Now, here's what's funny about this game. Project Gotham Racing, when the first one came out, these are published by Microsoft, by the way. They heavily promoted this game. Okay, this game was, in fact, so heavily promoted because they knew they had a gem. They knew they had something. And also the Xbox really needed games, good games in particular, to try and compete with that GameCube and that PS2. Like, Microsoft threw everything into the Xbox. Everything. Huge marketing campaigns. This was their first console. Like, they didn't have room for failure, and they had a huge budget. They had a budget bigger than anyone, bigger than any of their competitors. Okay, this was a juggernaut. This was Microsoft entering the video game market, and they had just witnessed Sega go exit the home console market. Okay, so they knew what was at stake and the costs involved, and they promoted the hell out of this. So much so that I wanted it bad. And if you know me about racing games, I have a love-hate relationship with racing games. I love them more now than I did back then. Especially back then, I really didn't like racing games that much. But I wanted this game. And I think it was purely from the marketing. And I would hear people talk about it every now and then at school. And it got to the point where I actually lied to my friends at school that I had this game. I was telling people, oh yeah, I got that game. Yeah, great game. Oh yeah, I'm playing it every night. Yeah, great. Oh, best racing game ever. I had never played it. I really didn't know anything about it on top of that. I just knew that it was Microsoft's answer to Gran Turismo. You know, it was their exclusive racer. Sony had Gran Turismo. What did Microsoft have? They didn't have anything. So they came out with Project Gotham Racing as their competitor, exclusive competitor. You want to play this game, you got to get an Xbox. So yeah, I lied about owning this game. I never owned it in my entire life. This is the very first time that I've actually owned it. And the very first time I've actually owned number 2. I have number 4 for the 360. But to be honest, the only 2 that I really care about are right here. I do not care about number 3 or 4. They all suck in my opinion, except for these 2. And by the way, these games are the spiritual successor to the Sega Dreamcast game called Metropolis Speed Racer, I think, or Street Racing. Metropolis Street Racing. A lot of people don't know that. But yes, this is basically the exact same game, but upgraded. Okay, it's not official, they changed the name, so I guess you could call it a spiritual successor. And by the way, this game got like rave reviews. Project Gotham Racing number 2, they fine-tuned this game, and it's basically perfection. So this started it off, had a good start, had a couple of flaws though. Game was absolutely perfected with number 2. And also, it's a good showcase for the Xbox graphics capabilities. This is some of the best OG Xbox graphics right here. Number 2 specifically. Like I said, they fine-tuned everything. The racing, everything. Fine-tuned it all in number 2.
It's time to get moving. Come on now. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Come on. See ya. You can't keep up with this. It's go time. Get out the way. Watch me work. Yeehaw. You ain't got nothing on me. Oh yeah, come on now. Come on, show me something. Oh, watch out, too rough. Hello. Bring it. Let me show you how it's done here.
Next up, we got Crimson Skies, another OG Xbox exclusive. This was a gem back in the day, monster hit back in the day, because this actually came with an Xbox Live bundle. Okay, because I remember this is how I got this game back in the day. I owned this back in the day, but I got it by buying this Xbox Live Gold membership bundle. And basically you pay for like a 1-year membership. You buy it in the store. I bought it at like Futurom or a Future Shop it was, / Best Buy. And it came with this game for free. And I think it even came with a headset for free. Like they were really pushing Xbox Live. So the price you were paying was the exact same price that you would pay for a 12-month Xbox Live subscription anyway. So you were getting all this added stuff for free. They might have charged an extra $10. I can't quite remember. But that's how I got this back in the day. And that's why this game was so popular. Because Millions of people bought that same bundle. And so therefore, by default, this was millions of players' very first game that they ever played online on Xbox Live. This was the first game I played, my very first experience, and what a great game to have as your first experience. This is a airplane game, I should have mentioned that. Arcade style flight combat game. I guess that's how you would describe it. Here it is, Battle Online. Play with or against 16 challengers from around the world with Xbox Live. 6 different multiplayer game types. Yeah, I wish I could remember all of the game types. Unfortunately, I really don't, but I know that there was a ton of different planes that you could choose from, and I just remember it was fun as hell chasing other players around. Especially when you're teaming up on somebody, and you just got, 2 or 3 airplanes chasing the same guy, and he's just running for his life. Because it's a dogfight. You're in the air. It's a dogfight. What are you going to do? You got 3 guys on your tail. What are you going to do? You're going to run for your life. So another really cool thing about this is that it is 4-player, local, same console. So I would love to try that one of these days. I never did try that. I didn't even know it was 4-player until I read the back. But also, here's what's very interesting about these OG Xbox games. You can do system link cable up to 16 players. So I am going to do that one day. I'm collecting all of those monster link cable games where you can get up to 16 players. My goal is to get all of them and eventually have 16 consoles and however many TVs I'm going to need. That's a long-term goal, though. I don't have the space or the money for that right now. But I think that would be fun as hell. And I know somebody that did that with Left 4 Dead for the Xbox 360. You can do 8 players on system link cable. And he actually went and bought, I guess it would have been 4 copies of the game? Maybe 8 copies? I don't even know how he did it, because I wasn't there. I just read about it. It was a local guy in Calgary. He was looking to purchase Left 4 Dead copies from people at the time, and he was saying that he was setting up a LAN party. Oh yeah, I paid $1 for this. Price charts for $7.46. Again, you probably find it at a shop for $10. Canadian dollars, $1. Steal of a deal. CIB. Not the best condition though. There is some damage at the bottom there. But this is not a game that you purchase as an investment. This is a game that you purchase because it's fun as hell. Next up, we got the Punisher. I paid $11 for this. Price charts for $47.22, but that's CIB. I forgot to write down the disc-only value because this is not CIB, so I would just get roughly disc-only value or slightly higher than disc-only value. Now, I do own this for the PlayStation 2, so I actually purchased this for the reason of selling it, because I'd rather own the PS2 version rather than the Xbox version, and I don't want 2 versions floating around. However, that said, the price has been steadily climbing on this one, because this is a hidden gem, and it's gaining more and more popularity with every year that passes. So I might hold this longer term. I haven't decided. Maybe make it a bit of a longer term investment before I sell it. PS2 version sells for, or price charts for, over $67 right now. PS2 versions always go for more money than the OG Xbox versions because the PS2 is a lot more collectible. PS2 is also backwards compatible with PS1. This came out in 2005, and believe it or not, this is another classic example of a game getting mixed reviews at the time And later on, people realized that it was an absolute gem. And it should have never got mixed reviews. It should have got rave positive reviews. Some interesting history on this game is that when it was first designed, it received an adults-only rating for extreme, whatever, I wrote this down, due to extremely gruesome scenes of torture and gore. So that was the original design. They actually censored it for the North American release. They dumbed it down. They added some black and white on some of those torture scenes to have less of an effect. I guess that's, I'm not the guy doing the rating system, so I don't know exactly how that works or why that allowed it to get a mature rating, but it got a mature rating in the end. They censored it a little bit. And for you guys out there in Europe, the PAL version got censored even further. So you guys have the worst version of this game. So if you want to play the best version, get the North American version. So what makes this game so interesting and unique is that you can interrogate your enemies. Okay, and you're encouraged to interrogate them. You're supposed to interrogate them. And by interrogate, it actually means torture them. So let's read the back. So interrogation. Terrorize criminals using their own methods. Okay, yeah, well, I mean that makes sense. Criminals like to torture people, cartel in particular. Don't ask how I know that. Use the environment over 100 unique ways to punish crime. Okay, so 100 unique torture methods to kill your enemies. That's what that means. Non-stop action, live the Punisher's greatest battles, build an armory of upgradable weapons, and an original story by Garth Ennis and Jimmy somebody. So, very cool game. I might keep it for a while, might sell it. We'll see. Maybe I'll talk it over with your mother, see what she thinks.
I caught a glimpse of heaven once. They stole it from me. This isn't vengeance. It's punishment. I never smile. But if I did, this would be it.
Next up, we got Urban Chaos Riot Response. This was a late release title. Came out in 2006. This is also on the PS2. It is not an exclusive. Okay. This one is not CIB because I did purchase it again with the intent to sell it because the price has been climbing and will continue to climb. This was made by Rocksteady. Same guys that made Batman Arkham Asylum. Legendary studio now, but I think this was the very first game that they ever made, by the way. Complete Hidden Gem. This is a first-person shooter where you are a Riot officer, and its unique mechanic, claim to fame, is that you're supposed to use your Riot shield. So you get the Riot shield, and you can block enemy shots, and also beat your enemies to death with the shield.
Shoot him down!
But more importantly, this is another one of those system link games where you can have 2 to 8 players. And I wish I had this back in the day. Imagine playing this on Xbox Live. So there's no Xbox Live anymore, guys. That's why I'm bringing up the system link cable. If you want to recreate Xbox Live, you can still do it with the system link cable. You can recreate a friggin' 16-player Crimson Skies. You know how amazing that would be? Having a LAN party? Yeah, sure, you gotta be rich and have a big house. But if you are rich and have a big house, why wouldn't you do that? Get 8 TVs? I don't know. How many TVs do you need for 16 players? 4 TVs? 5 TVs? If you can have 4 players per TV, hypothetically, I don't know if you can. So you're either going to need 16 TVs, or if you can have 4 players per TV, you would need 4 TVs, right? 4, 8, 16, yeah. So, I mean, that's not too bad, but you still need space for 16 players in your house. So the reason this is climbing in price is because this is another one of those hidden gems that keeps gaining fame and popularity as more and more people realize that this actually exists and that it's actually a good game. PS2 version sells for a lot more. Oh yeah, so I actually overpaid for this one. I paid $16, but I didn't mind because my intent is to either quick flip it, you know, make $5-10 in profit, or hold it longer term and make more than that. So I can quick flip it if I want. Disc only price charts for $26.92. I could probably get $30 for it maybe. And CIB price charts for $40 commonly sells for over $50. Right? So I have no problem holding on to this or quick flipping it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. And maybe I'll keep it. Try to get 16 copies. Anywhere between 4 and 16 copies. I got to figure out how the system link works. Well, this one's only 8 player, so I don't need 16 copies. But how fun would that be? That might be an Xbox exclusive thing. But wouldn't that be amazing to play that online? Last up, we got Darkwatch. Capcom game. Another game that's been climbing up in value. Friggin' absolute hidden gem yet again. These are monster hits. Now this one is damaged. Manual has a tear in it. But I got it for a really good deal. What did I pay for this? $8. $8, bitch. I'll pay $8 for this any day of the week. I paid 8 smackers. I paid $8. Price charts for $25.77, commonly sells for $30+. Charts going up. It is also on the PS2 though, by the way, and I also own the PS2 version, which is why this version I will eventually sell. This is a first-person shooter. You play as some sort of vampire. And I like to say that it has RPG elements to it, and that's why this particular one appeals to me, and I think that's why this game is going up in value and is classified as a hidden gem, because those RPG elements make it unique. Okay, meaning you get special powers, but your powers depend on what decisions you make in the game. So if you make good decisions, your character will get good-based powers. So you become, I guess you could say you become a good guy because you're making good guy decisions. It's like Star Wars, I guess. You know, you got your good force powers or your dark side force powers. So you go this route, you can get these good powers. And if you go the other route, you can get these evil powers. And by default, the evil powers are better because you can get this undead ability where you can turn some undead monsters into friendly allies, kind of making you like a necromancer to a certain extent. So I like necromancers, summoners. Anytime any video game has a necromancer or a summoner ability, that's the character I'm being. For example, right now I'm playing Morrowind, Elder Scrolls Morrowind for the OG Xbox, and I am a conjuration magic specialist because I like to summon stuff. Oh, Diablo 2, I would always pick the necromancer for that same reason, having a massive army of skeletons and or golems. Play that all day. Now, I wish they made Diablo 2 on a console. They did it with Diablo 1, they did it with Diablo 3, but no Diablo 2. What a lost opportunity. Because Diablo 1 for the PlayStation 1 had 2-player co-op same console. And I've spoken about that before. But that is one of the best co-op games ever made in history. And one could argue that it is the best co-op game ever made in history because it has friendly fire. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, why is that? Isn't that a bad thing? Why would you want friendly fire on? You're going to kill each other. Well, that's the point. You are going to kill each other. And you're potentially going to ruin your friendship permanently. Because I've been there. But I look back on that with fond memories. Believe it or not. Oh yeah, I had some frickin' wars, man. And I played that game with multiple friends. You could save your character on a memory card. So you could bring your memory card over to any friend's house. They don't even need to own Diablo because you can bring your Diablo over to their house. And they can have their own character on their memory card. And you just, as long as they have a PlayStation 1, you can just bring the game over to anybody's house. And I'll tell you how it starts. Okay, I gotta retell this. I'll tell you how it starts. How it starts is you accidentally hit your buddy, or he accidentally hits you. Maybe the first time you let it slide. But you know what? Healing yourself costs money. You gotta use a healing potion. And when your buddy hits you, it hurts. So the first time you let it slide, but if he does it again, and it's always accidental in the beginning, if he does it again, then you get pissed off. You say, okay, buddy, you hit me now. I had to use a healing potion. Now I get to hit you. He says, okay, go ahead. Take a free hit. So you hit him. But then he says, well, wait a minute. You did more damage than I did to you. You only had to use a lesser healing potion. I've now had to use a greater healing potion. So now I get to hit you again to even it out. But the thing is, you can never even it out. So then it leads to a big war. And if one of you dies, your loot goes everywhere. And the other guy can loot your entire corpse. Oh yeah, it's some serious business, guys. Absolute serious business. I chased around a friend with the spark wand, shooting these little electricity sparks everywhere. And he was dodging them, crying out for mercy. Crying out for his life. And we're sitting beside each other on the couch. He's crying out for mercy. And I'm chasing. I was laughing. I was having a great time. But I was also pissed off. Like, it was serious. I was trying to kill him. But I was making him sweat. Like, I used the spark wand on purpose. Because I thought it was funny. Because he can actually dodge the sparks. But he was getting hit every now and then. You can't dodge him forever. How long are you going to run? We can keep this up all day. Yeah, so, how that ends is up to you. In many cases, you eventually make peace and you carry on. Oh yeah, by the way, this is a Western horror game. First-person shooter, Western horror, but it's not meant to be serious. It's not like a serious horror game or a serious shooter. It's designed to just be fun. Guaranteed you will have a good time. If you're into first-person shooters, 110% you will love this game. Give it a try. It's fairly cheap in the grand scheme of things. You can get it on Xbox or PS2. It's not exactly a $100, $200, $300 game, so it's fairly cheap. Go ahead and pick it up.
They're trying to open the vault!
Oh, hell, here comes Lazarus!
Yes. Flee. I love the hunt.
Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to get to over 9,000 subscribers on my way to collecting over 9,000 retro video games.